Welcome to our microlearning channel. In this lecture, we will discuss on processes that involve the transformation of reactants into products, including types such as synthesis, decomposition, single replacement, and double replacement reactions. This slide introduces the fundamental law that mass is conserved during chemical reactions, showing a microscopic view of individual atoms rearranging and a macroscopic view of a balanced scale. In the familiar example of hydrogen and oxygen forming water, the total mass of reactants equals the total mass of products, which means atoms are only rearranged, not created or destroyed. Here we explain the mole as the translation layer between the macroscopic world of grams and the atomic world of particles, with Avogadro's number acting like an exchange rate. Chemists weigh substances in the lab, but reactions occur particle to particle. So converting mass to moles lets us count atoms and apply reaction ratios accurately when predicting or measuring outcomes. This page walks through why equations must be balanced, using H2 and O2 forming water as an example, and the visual of an uneven scale. An unbalanced inventory fails the conservation check, while applying coefficients creates a balanced molar ratio. Those coefficients are essentially the recipe that ensures each atom type is accounted for, and the reaction proceeds efficiently. The stoichiometric workflow breaks a mass-to-mass calculation into 3 clear nodes. Convert known mass to moles, switch moles using the reaction's mole ratio, then convert those moles back to mass for the desired product. Thinking in these conversion steps and units prevents mistakes and provides a reproducible method for predicting how much product you can obtain from a given starting mass. This slide uses a sandwich assembly analogy to illustrate limiting and excess reagents. When ingredients aren't matched, the limiting reagent sets the production cap, while others remain in excess. The chemical schematic shows how identifying that constraint is crucial for cost control and efficiency, since expensive reagents should ideally limit production, while cheaper materials can be kept in surplus. Finally, we compare theoretical yield to actual yield, using a funnel diagram to show losses from side reactions, spillage, and purification. The percent yield formula expresses actual output relative to the theoretical maximum, and achieving a high percent yield is the key metric for evaluating real-world process efficiency and identifying where improvements are needed.